Hi, I'm Laura from Lawrence Branch, and Frida Kahlo needs no introduction. Can you believe that one day on my way to work, she was on somebody's curb waiting to be discarded? So would you pull over? I pulled over, of course I did. And she seemed to be in very good shape. And she seems to be made of paper mache. She's probably someone's art project. So I brought her home. This was before COVID-19. This was sometime over the winter, maybe a little bit after Christmas time. And my dog hates her, so she's been out in the garage for the most part. And so with Cinco de Mayo coming up, I knew that I wanted to do a nice craft, a piece that incorporated the much beloved Frida Kahlo. And guess what? We are not going to be duplicating this. I don't think I could if I tried. We are not going to make a paper mache project at all. Instead, in my research and in deciding what to make, I saw a lot of different ideas. Of course, the information on Frida Kahlo is prolific. There's so much to choose from. So take a look at what research led me to today's project. So you've seen all of those things that gave me ideas, and I think what I most knew that I wanted to do was not just something flat, but something three-dimensional. And so those ideas of the niches or the little devotional boxes made out of metal really appealed to me. So here's what I made. I'm going to call it a niche or a nicho. It might not really be that, or a shadow box. And so I started with an empty box. You could use a lot of different things. You could use small tins, you could use any kind of box that opens or not, or one that might have a window on the front. So this box originally started in another color, and the first thing I did was to paint it using my acrylic paints, and that took me a couple of days. And then I embellished it with bright stripes. And then I let that dry. And in the meantime, I started getting caught up in what was I going to use for my art pieces on this. And I was this close to ordering things online when I looked on eBay and Amazon and other online resources. I saw so many things that I wanted: postcard collections, tarot card collections, calendars that I could use that would be, ready-made color pieces of iconography. However, I wanted to get this done in time for Cinco de Mayo, and I also didn't want to spend any money. That's just not my way. So I went ahead and looked online, and I suggest that you do this too. By the way, if you don't like Frida Kahlo, consider this project. It could be for anybody that you like: a sports figure, another artist, a musician. I love the writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez. While I was making this, I thought, oh, I could make one for him as well. So anyhow, I chose, it was very hard. I printed out a lot of black and white pieces, and I chose my 4 to 10 favorite pieces. And so you see on the front here, here's just a black and white printout of her face. And I used a little bit of solid tempera paint to paint the yellow skin tone on myself as well as her makeup. And that was that. And I taped it on. And my daughter knew that I was doing this project. And I said, if you've got anything up there that you think might help, she was into it. She brought me these. They seem to be made of like little paper or rice paper. They might even be fabric, I'm not sure. But these, of course, she knew would work well with this, and they did. So I hot glued them on, and that's my side one. My inside of the box is painted black. And here's my back side of this. I loved this picture of Frida in front of the mirror. So I cut that out. I cut around the background, and then I got my trusty acrylic paints out, and I did that beautiful teal color. And also already had these around the house, these teardrop shaped rhinestones. And if I didn't have those, I would have crumpled up tinfoil or anything, anything could serve in that for that purpose. So that was my other side. And then here you see that's the probably one of the pieces that most of you would recognize. So that worked very nicely on my black background. Taped it in, and I painted her eyes and lips, and then you see that I used the rhinestones for her earrings. And then also a lot of the works of hers that I liked had those beautiful, she loves her animalitos. They had leaves in the background. And so first thing I did was to go out and pick some ivy leaves that were growing way too high outside here on the other side of this fireplace. And I dried those out for a little while by pressing them into heavy books. And there are different ways that you can press leaves. You could use glycerin and many different methods, but the pressing them in the books worked fine. And so those are what are on the inside of here. So that one is, I was really tempted to keep going with this one, but I want it to be understated. So this one is the front of the piece. And then let's look at the back. I loved this other picture of her and Diego Rivera, her husband. I loved the kiss, so I cut that one out. And then there's this one as well. And I painted a little bit with acrylic paint on that. So you see my 4 sides of this, and I embellished the sides here with more plastic craft supplies that I had. And so what I would say is this, what you see here really took me quite a while. It took me days to get this done, but I had such fun with it. And I used a lot of library materials from our virtual branch in order to get to this point. And I'm not, usually I give you a long list of all of the books that the library has. I think you would easily find those. But one thing I don't think you might easily find is a couple of the articles that I found. And I have to thank my colleague Laura Narosic. She did do another YouTube video on Explora, and you could watch that video. But after watching that video, I immediately used it to do some research for this project. So I got some great articles. This one is The Aztec, Frida Kahlo and Cinco de Mayo, Mexico in Children's Literature. It's a nice article. Then I've got some things at Arts and Activities magazine on doing portraits, things for various ages, younger children, self-portraits, and things like that. So I just want to make sure you know to go to our virtual branch, because I was pleasantly surprised when I did that. And I've got a lot of how-to lesson plan type things that would get you started. So I hope you do this project. Finally, this statue has been able to appear on camera and serve a purpose, and I'm going to keep her around. I'm not sure, she's not in the house yet, but maybe someday she will be, and she could be on display with my shadow box. Have fun with it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and stay safe.